From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate. The architects of the Canada-US-Mexico agreement say U.S. President Donald Trump's trade war has crossed a line that essentially wipes out the Continental Trade Pact. Canada's chief negotiator, Steve Verhoeven, and Mexican's chief negotiator, Ken Smith Ramos, say even though there is a mandatory review scheduled for next year, there can be no substantive talks as long as the countries are under a cloud of devastating duties. Multiple provinces, including Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta, are halting the sale of American alcohol, while British Columbia is pulling liquor from the shelves that's produced in red states that voted for U.S. President Donald Trump last fall. UBC's Samuel Roscoe says the provinces are using their control over the sector to send a message south of the border.
The issue is that the government only really has control of the sale of alcohol as a product. It's not able to kind of prohibit other goods as such because those are owned by businesses and they're purchased by businesses. So it is very difficult for the government to step in there.
He says the challenge for BC and other provinces will be helping homegrown alcohol makers expand their exports to markets beyond the U.S. Following a meeting with the big three automakers, the White House announced a 30-day delay on car tariffs with Mexico and Canada. Reporter Elizabeth Schulze has the details.
What this is an exemption for automakers that are complying with the USMCA. What's the USMCA? Well, that is the free trade deal that was really one of the crowning achievements of President Trump's first term that essentially meant that there is free trade between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada.
The Trump administration has maintained that the tariffs are about stopping the smuggling of drugs such as fentanyl, with aides asserting that this is about a drug war rather than a trade war. Police in Regina say 6 boys have been charged following a series of what appears to be vigilante attacks. Spread across the past 11 months, investigators say most of the cases involve male victims meeting the suspects on a dating app. Part of a trend called Catch a Predator, the police allege that the suspects posed as a 15-year-old boy and then filmed the subsequent assaults for online posting. The boys, aged 13 to 17, are facing assault and or robbery charges, with police saying there could be more suspects. 3 new confirmed cases of the measles have been tallied by Ontario's Niagara Region Public Health. Each case involves children who have not been vaccinated. The health unit says it's reaching out to those who have been identified as being exposed to the measles virus. It says that anyone who visited Medcare clinics at Scott Street Medical Center in St. Catharines last Sunday should watch for symptoms for up to 21 days and ensure their measles vaccination is up to date. And finally, European leaders are holding emergency summit talks to beef up their own military defenses and make sure Ukraine will still be properly protected by its allies. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, we're going to start off in the NHL, where the Vancouver Canucks down the Anaheim Ducks by a final score of 3-2. That's going to be a theme this evening. Earlier, the Vegas Golden Knights won their third straight 5-2 over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Ottawa needed overtime to beat Chicago 4-3. Washington topped the Rangers in overtime as well, 3-2. And St. Louis needed the shootout to defeat the Kings, you guessed it, 3-2. In the Professional Women's Hockey League, Boston took a 5-2 decision from New York. Still on the ice, Saskatchewan's Mike McEwen and Alberta's Brad Jacobs joined defending champion Brad Gushue in securing playoff berths at the Montana's Brier. McEwen and Jacobs are first and second in Pool B at 7-0 and 6-0, entering the final day of pool play. And a quick check in the NBA. Canadian Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 41 points and keyed a third-quarter rally as the Oklahoma City Thunder beat the Memphis Grizzlies 120-103. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.